All right, this is a big deal here today. We're talking about a trend change here on the DXY. I'm going to review that for you. This is going to be the most important piece of this video because going forward, this is kind of setting our analysis going forward on all US dollar pairs over here. We're going to talk about what that means for gold and silver as we see the dollar strengthening. We're going to see what that means for equities as well as Bitcoin. We're also going to take a look over here starting at the S&P 500, moving over to the NASDAQ before we get into that big review on the dollar and then gold, silver, and Bitcoin. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. We're going to start off with the equity markets. And all is that I want to just take note over here of two things. First of all, the bulls have made a stance over here, over at that horizontal support of 32.76. Also with that trend line support, that's the last trend line over here. Is the one down touching over there? Maybe. It's way further down. It doesn't matter. It's below this area of support over here. That's not what we're focusing in on right now. The only thing we're going to focus in on is one thing and one thing only. Equities are risky, uber risky going into this event we have next week, the US election. We're going to stay neutral. I don't think, and I've been cautioning people also from trading on the downside over here. Look, a lot of shorts probably ate their lunch today. The reason being is, like I said, all it takes is one little tweet, one little press conference about stimulus or possible stimulus, and you see the market react. Today was Donald Trump's turn. Donald Trump saying he wants to go big. He wants to go really big. And then you have the market just bouncing off important support. Now, that's not to say tomorrow's Friday, we're into Monday, early next week. That's not to say if things start breaking down, election night, if there's no concession, that we might not look for a little bit of some nice setups on the short side. Not right now. Going into the weekend, absolutely staying neutral. NASDAQ up almost 2% over here. Was up much higher. You could see that being rejected here cleanly by that resistance right now. However, we're getting a nice bounce over here. There's nothing to add, nothing to say. The only thing I would like to add is this. I saw it on the S&P right now. I'm seeing it also on the NASDAQ. Do you see that we're getting that larger triangle over there, right? By the way, that could be a very big bullish continuation pattern. Do you see it over here? All of this. Yeah. A breakdown, though. That will be clean. That will be clean. Look, I'm going to show you that on the S&P 500 as well. You can see the same exact thing taking place over here. Just an observation. Is it as clean here as it on? Yeah, it's also clean so far. Right? Just know it. Just take note. All right, let's talk about the dollar over here. This is a huge deal. We've had a trend change. If you watched yesterday's live stream, if you watched yesterday afternoon's live update, and you watched this morning's live update over here, the live stream, you are well aware of what's going on. Conquering the markets all day long. Breakout, retest, resumption. This is a big deal. I'm going to take you back over here. Back in May, up into May, I was a dollar bull all going into the year. Dollar bull, right? Over here, I kept everyone on the right side of the trade. I kept everyone bullish at the dollar. Look at this. Boom, we shot up over here. Even though I was still a dollar bull, I went bearish on the dollar. Why did I go bearish? Because we had a big technical breakdown of this consolidation over here. This was a consolidation. I thought we would break out to the upside. It didn't happen. Once we broke down over here, even though inside I was a dollar bull, I flipped the script. I went and became bearish on the dollar and have maintained that stance up until this morning London session. Look at that. Boom, conquering the markets all day long. Now we're switching that. And by the way, this year has been absolutely fantastic as far as the opportunity in trades. Whether it was riding oil all the way down, whether it was trading the S&P to the downside in late February and throughout March, whether it was trading the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar short down against, long the Japanese yen and Swiss franc against them, long on the euro later. I mean, this year has been absolutely phenomenal. I think my best work all year was over here. I think this was my best work, working us through all of this. And that says a lot. But nevertheless, here we are right now. I'm now flipping the script. I became a dollar bull here this morning in London as we did the breakout, retest, resumption. That's a trend change. That's a big deal. You could see that trend line over here. That's, speaking of like trend lanes and what trend breaks and what they mean, look at Bitcoin for a second. You all know that big trend line that I've been stalking now for a couple of years. Here we go. We got the break that set off the bull market in Bitcoin. It's a similar event over here, right? In the fact that we're getting on a smaller time scale, On the DXY over here this morning, we're getting that breakout. We've been short now. This is going on months. The high was in March. This was where we went short in May. And now look at this. I'm not picking a bottom. What I'm doing is seeing a pivotal event. If we trade back below this trend line anytime soon, then of course that will be negated and I will be bearish again on the dollar. Could that happen? Of course that could happen. Nevertheless, until that happens, or until I find out what's next, and what do I mean by that? I mean, fast forward 2-3 weeks, maybe we come into resistance, maybe we have some type of rejection that says, all right, that was the move. Nevertheless, I'm making here definitely a big change over here in my sentiment of the dollar. Now bullish the dollar. What does that mean? What does that mean? But Jordan, we haven't closed above the 94 resistance. Well, not yet. We just broke out. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. As long as it stays above this trend line right now, as long as it's above 93.35, extremely bullish. It could go below 93. It could go below 93.34 and still hold that trend line and bounce off it. That will still be bullish. As long as we're above this trend line for the time being, bullish on the dollar. What does that mean for the equity markets? What does that mean for gold, silver, and Bitcoin? Well, if you look at right now, gold, it's down 0.3%. Silver's down a little bit less. Equity markets are up today with the strong dollar, and Bitcoin's way stronger than the dollar. Bitcoin's up 1.71%. Listen, Bitcoin's its own thing. We'll talk about that in a second. Could a strong dollar put near-term pressure on gold? It's quite possible. I want to talk to you first about stop loss placement. I had a stop loss over here on that long entry, right? Now you could see, and some of you, I saw it before we got stopped out, calling out in the live stream. We were coming into that support. Where was the right place to put the stop? Right? Was it down over here at 1863 in that area? Or was it below this little area of support? I mean, if I was doing it again, I thought I was giving this room. So my stop loss was a little longer than normal in that particular situation where I knew I was wrong. I was wrong. I was stopped out. Look, do I think that gold's going to go bid here going into the election? I think election night, if there's a contested election, we may see a bid into gold. But obviously the market is speaking, and right now the market is bid dollar, and gold and silver continue to be under pressure. Over here, just like trade each. Look, we talked about it this morning in the live stream. I'm going to pull it up for you right now because it's really important over here. Let me go to notifications over here. Let me pull up this tweet over here that was right here. This is looking at the dollar in blue and gold in gold over here. And you could see that most of the time they have an inverse correlation. You could see over here gold rising, dollar weak. Vice versa, you could see over here the dollar rising, gold's weak. There are plenty of periods though where you see a rising dollar and gold also rising. One of the most pronounced was at the beginning of this year, January through February. Dollar was as strong as can be, and gold was stronger. It's not the only time that's happened. You have other periods. Look over here. You see them both rising together for a period of time over here, where also they not adversely correlated, but showing a tight correlation. There are other periods over here. You can pick one out. There are times where gold and silver will trade correlated together. Most of the time they have an inverse correlation. Right now we're seeing strong dollar. We're seeing that correlation hold, although the precious metals today were not under as much pressure because we were talking about stimulus over here, right? And precious metals bid on that. Nevertheless, my point being, follow what's going on in the charts. Follow what's going on in the charts. And for me on gold right now that we've had a technical breakdown, what's a technical breakdown? We were consolidating in that triangle. Not only did we break out to the upside, but it was a failure, and then we broke down below. This is a negative bearish event. In order for me to get bullish again, by bullish I mean looking to buy again, that means that I want to see some repair. I want to see this line over here, this gold line, have it 1914. I want to see price trade above it, and then I'll be happy buying gold again. For right now, though, this is negative. This is a breakdown, retest, resumption to the downside. So that's what that is. Here on silver, a similar situation. I was pointing out perhaps what we're looking at is perhaps head and shoulders developing, and that could very well be the case. But let me clean this up for you just to show you right now. You're seeing the same thing happen on gold. You're seeing over here this consolidation that's taken place. We broke down. That's bearish. Not only did we break down, we've then came up. That was the retest. That's as far as we got, and we're resuming down. This is all bearish. There's nothing positive whatsoever. There's no reason I would step in over here. Now, if we had a bit of a waterfall and if we came down to a strong support level, would I step in and look to buy? Yes, we'll cover that as we get to that. Right now, the only thing that would make me a buyer in the near term on silver, and it would be gold first, would be just simply a clear breakout of this trend line to the upside. Okay, I'm going to just break out above that trend line over there. Is that over here a left shoulder? Is that a head and a right shoulder? Are you seeing a perhaps inverse head and shoulder? I have no idea. I don't look for the head and shoulder pattern. I look for what the neckline is anyway, the trend line. If we get a break of that trend line, then we could have a bullish repair here and be looking for further gains. Right now, just stay away from the precious metals. However, Bitcoin is obviously being Bitcoin. We were looking at that this morning. We were saying why Bitcoin was trading down into this area right here, into the support. Why is that support? Broken resistance, becomes support. And the fact that it was trading above that, well, that was entirely bullish. We were looking at during that live stream, if we made a higher high, is that being a good entry? As well as some people were asking if we cleared above here, would that be a good entry up here? And the one caveat is you have that bit of resistance to clear first before you start looking to take any trades in that area, in that zone up there right now. So what would be worrisome on Bitcoin, right? Worrisome, not worry. If we broke this area over here, if we traded below right now, call it 12,800, at that point, I think that we could see a pullback towards the 12,100 area. That's what I would be looking for. Notice also that support right below it. That's coming in a little bit lower, 11,800. I don't think we'd go. I think 12,100 probably we would see some buying activity. If we held that, that would be a good place to step in. Nevertheless, right now we're seeing very bullish price action with the strong dollar and the stronger gold. Kips likes to talk about watch what happens when the dollar is strong. Look what's holding up the best. Today, Bitcoin is being Bitcoin. We're seeing the continued break of the correlation. Although I have to add the one caveat over here. You're seeing equity markets up today. You're seeing equity markets bounce. I believe, obviously they were at support, but I believe because just simply talk of stimulus sending equities up. That's why it's dangerous to short the market right now, the equity markets, is simply because any type of stimulus talk at this point, the markets do go bid. So careful on both sides. I think next week, again, if we get a contested election, again, we might see gold go bid, but we also at that point, that might be a point to lean in short on the equity markets. Aside from that, stay away right now. Stay neutral. It's a short update, but a good one, really important one. And most important thing that I want to bring to your attention today, the US dollar, now major trend shift, going bullish on the dollar over here. Again, the last time that I had a trend change over here on the dollar was when I went bearish. Now, going ahead, switching that, we are bullish. Everyone, I'll see you all in the morning for the live stream. Have a great day.